All right, welcome back, everybody, to this bonus episode for Drunk Bible Study 104, the episode where Saul poops. Everybody poops, but most of all, Saul. Better call Saul, but not while he's pooping.
No. Good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
To be honest, that's pretty much the only thing I remember from...
Right. I've forgotten everything else we talked about.
It's the most important part. So I was really curious about how this story has been depicted throughout the years. Now, we have, for you folks listening, a very multimedia episode today, of our bonus episode today, so be on the lookout for that. But for you here, not in the studio, my beloved co-hosts, I'm going to screen share some with you. So I created a collection of pictures of Saul maybe pooping, maybe not pooping,
squatting
from various sources.
I'm assuming he wouldn't be squatting unless he were pooping, right?
Well, so I collected all these images and I was going to put them in a folder called Everything But Pooping, but then I didn't want that on my desktop, so I just called it Everything But.
Everything
but
revolving around the butt.
T's, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
For those of you that do want to be able to actually see these images, I will post them in our Drunk Bible Study fans and fellowship group for your enjoyment.
on Facebook, right?
On Facebook,
okay,
yes.
great.
So I'm kind of going to go in order from like least explicit to most explicit here.
Okay.
All right.
So now most images that I saw are very child-friendly. They follow this kind of format of often what you actually see is just the moment after when David has cut his robe,
Right.
So they kind of censor it out, essentially. They'll show you the image just before what happened and then just after when David is triumphantly holding Saul's bit of his robe and Saul's like, whoa, like, oh my goodness, super surprised. I saw a lot of those images. Now, the majority of images that, especially that are made for children's content, take the tactic of actually saying that Saul was taking a nap in the cave.
Really?
He was not.
Yes, there was a lot of that. So you see a lot of these images of Saul actually sleeping and David sneaking up, cutting off the hem of his robe, and then sneaking out. Now, I learned that part of this may just be people trying to censor it for the sake of the children. I did learn that there was like an 18th or 19th century translator who translated it to be him taking a nap, essentially like repose instead of relieving himself. And so there was probably quite a long period of time where whoever read that translation of the Bible did really think like, oh yeah, he went and took a nap.
Interesting.
So I think that
They
makes
were
sense.
wrong, though.
They were wrong.
They were wrong.
I
you
wonder what the
see-
King James Bible says.
I think this King James is like relieve himself. But see a lot of this of like, for some reason, Saul just goes into this cave all by himself to lay down and take a nap.
That's what that
And I
picture
don't
is
like.
depicting.
But when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense because it's like you're with your army. Don't you have your normal setup with your army where you have like your tent at the very least? Like, why wouldn't you just take a nap there? Why would you go all the way up to this cave by yourself to take a nap? At the very least, you got to be worried about bears and stuff.
He probably
Right.
just wanted to be
Totally.
away from everyone. He's
Now
like, I'm
this
God's
image-
chosen one. It's fine.
Now, this image I do really like because this is more of an action-y image. That Saul's in the cave. He's not sleeping. He's not pooping. He's kind of like ninjaing around, like with his sword drawn.
See, he is scared of bears in this one for
Now,
sure.
I like what's implied by this image, the more action-oriented one, because it implies either that David is very, very stealthy, that he can sneak up on a guy who's fully alert
And like scoping
and cut
out
off
the
hem of
place.
his
Yeah,
robe.
for sure.
Exactly. Or it implies that Saul's really, really dumb and is actually not very alert.
I mean,
and
he does
not
have
do
this-
a good job of this.
He does have this helmet on that's kind of covering his ears a little bit. So maybe,
I agree.
Okay.
you know,
I agree.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, now moving up in kind of suggestiveness, I guess, is this image. This is also for children's consumption, where
He's just
Now-
sitting.
he's sitting on a rock.
He's sitting on a rock. Yeah,
When
but
I-
like, you can't. There's no hole in that rock.
right, when I first saw this image, I was like, oh, they have him sitting. Like, they have him actually, like, going to the bathroom. But I was like, wait, his pants are on. He's on a rock. Like, that's not
Yeah.
going to work. So they had Saul just kind of come in and, like, sit down, like, on a little tuffet on a stone, just with his back to David. And somehow he just doesn't notice anybody creeping up behind him. Now I'm going to whip out a classic here. Okay, this is a straight up
classic.
Rembrandt. This is a Rembrandt depiction.
Wow. goodness.
of this scene.
Okay, so it's all kind of like charcoal-y, pencil-y drawing. And
yes, this is explicit.
Is that his penis there that I'm seeing?
That is his penis.
His
Yeah.
penis.
Just
there it is.
hanging out. Just
there it
hanging
is.
out.
It does not look circumcised.
It doesn't.
I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah.
Just going to put that out there.
That's true. I did not notice that on the first pass.
I mean,
I will say, I'm
pay more
not-
attention, Dedeker. Come on.
I can't, I don't know. Maybe it is, but I can't tell that.
I'm not surprised though, because Rembrandt, from what I understand, really did not shy away from depicting these kind of things. He has like 20 images of people like pooping or peeing.
Oh, really? Wow.
He did all kinds of art, but this was some of it.
Okay,
Wow.
great. And then he heard this story and he's like, aha.
He's like, I got to get that down, obviously.
Now, I'm going to bring you to an image from the Brick Testament. For those of you that are listening, I highly recommend looking up the Brick Testament because it's all these Bible stories.
Playmobil?
No,
Legos.
Lego. It's
Legos.
It's a bunch of Bible stories, but depicted as Lego. Now, this is not the most high quality image.
Oh, now I can see it better.
As you can see,
oh my goodness!
They actually put in a little Lego poop. I don't even know what set that's from, but
yeah. How can you get that? Are there like logs? So like small sticks,
I don't know.
Brown
this is
sticks?
what I do appreciate about the Brick Testament is that they don't shy away from this stuff. Yeah,
that's hysterical.
Wow.
They go straight for it. Now, along these lines of things that are a little bit more explicit, there are also I only saw these images in videos. I couldn't find the original images, but are the two of you familiar with marginalia by any chance and what that is?
Uh-uh.
So basically, marginalia refers to like the drawings that are in the margins of like old handwritten texts.
Okay. Right,
like usually it's like all flowery vines and the big, breakout letter at the top of it. But there's a lot of weird stuff that shows up in marginalia. I think because it's, these really bored monks who just have to copy handwritten pages day after day. And so how else do you entertain yourself but by drawing stuff in the marginalia?
Totally.
There are some very explicit marginalia drawings of Saul mid-poop. Yes. Of course, I couldn't find them. Now, here's a quick bonus. Here's an image that's not related to this story, but it is a children's image. And can you tell me what's going on here?
Okay. I see a king. I'm assuming that's King Saul.
Yeah.
Oh, is this where people are like, Saul only has 1,000 people that he's commanded, and David has 10,000 or whatever.
No, that's a good guess. No, so what's going on in the image is that it's Saul, it's David, and David has a big pile of helmets in between him and Saul.
Are these supposed to be the foreskins?
These are supposed to be the foreskins.
Wait, why are there helmets then?
Because this is for children's consumption, and so this is like the euphemistic version of the story. Like the caption that went along with this image was like, David showed how strong he was by killing a bunch of Philistines. Look how many he killed, and they're using the helmets of these Philistines instead of the foreskins.
A euphemism for the helmet of the penis.
Exactly. I was like, you still chose something that's kind of euphemistic for a foreskin.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to put this folder of everything but in the Drunk Bible Study Fans and Fellowship group this bonus episode drops. So be on the lookout for that.
Definitely.
I'm so excited. Wow. Okay. Well, along those lines, we all ended up sort of doing potentially child friendly, maybe not as child friendly
at
as
least
we first thought.
How other people have decided to present this information to children.
No, totally. Yeah. And I was looking up David sparing Saul's life. Is this okay? Et cetera, et cetera. And essentially what I found was this thing called Superbook on YouTube, which has almost 1 million subscribers. Pretty incredible. 940,000 subscribers. And it's these two little kids who run around with some sort of, I think it's some sort of robot, and they're going through the Bible.
This is animated, right?
Yes, it's an animated little, there are little sections, little stories of the Bible. And then these kids walk through the Bible with this robot and then talk to David and other people.
Oh, so they actually
interact? They're there. Yeah. It's they're there with everyone.
I see.
But
I didn't catch that.
They're not changing the story in any way.
Right.
It's like they're Marty and Doc, like, somehow in this. Yeah, but they're not changing the story in any way.
Wow.
Like they would in Back to the Future.
Now,
Okay.
that does remind me of an animated series that came out in like the 70s or 80s. I forget what it was called. It was like this guy and this girl who, like, these two teenagers that get sent back to Bible times, and they're kind of like time travelers where they do interact with people, but they don't change the story. However, instead of a robot, they were with a little brown kid.
Oh, goodness.
Oh,
So,
I vaguely remember.
do you remember that?
Yeah. I don't remember it very
I had a couple of those VHSs
well.
growing up.
Yeah. Boy, there's a lot of media out there that we haven't covered on this show yet, but should get to at some point. There's a lot of weird Christian media over the years.
Wow. Well, in this, everyone's white, so, which is ridiculous. Yeah.
So this is Saul coming into the cave, right? And the kids and the robot are watching this happen. I guess they're also hiding in the cave with King David.
They are, and the little boy, he is basically like, I'm really excited because like David's going to kill Saul and he's going to show him what's what and stuff. It's going to be a big massacre. Cool.
Oh, I see. Because
and then
boys
this
love
happens.
Killing. Love that.
Yeah, I guess that's also the message that we're trying to send here.
Right.
Cool. Yeah. Okay.
Is anyone in here?
That's Saul, by the way, yelling in the cave.
I like they include some water sounds to make it feel more bathroom-esque.
Hey, what's he looks like? He's going potty?
Those are the kids, and I guess the robot.
He's going potty? I like that.
And he straight up is squatting there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah.
going for it.
He still
And
has
then
his pants on though, which is awkward.
His
Does
pants
he?
are still on?
Yeah,
Really?
look,
They're not,
his
like-
pants are still on. Yeah, he goes and squats but doesn't pull down his pants. So this is maybe he has a flap. He must have a flap.
He's got to
That's
have a
gotta
flap.
be it. Yeah.
A butt flap.
A butt flap.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's an 1800s prospector
Okay.
in this cave.
Are you watching David walking near him?
Right. So then David comes up, and while he's squatting there, he comes up and
you
like,
want to talk about
cuts off-
stealthy.
Yeah.
This David in this one is incredibly stealthy. He goes up, he cuts it off, and then he just runs back, like, and nobody notices anything. It's pretty incredible. And then it goes on to, Saul finally leaves the cave, and David is like, no one harm him, to everyone in the cave, and then runs down and
and
talks
does
to
his
Saul.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, does his thing. So-
Honestly, I know this is such a strange detail, but watching this now for the second time, I realize what's the most unsettling about this is the fact that Saul goes into the cave and squats and poops in total silence. Like, he's not like, oh, man, really, there's no, like, it's like total silence.
He's gonna pontificate like while he's squatting.
No, like
No,
sighing or
I guess-
grunting or, anything.
Bearing down in some way. Okay.
Yeah.
More what I noticed when he was pooping was more the look on his face of just like deep contemplation and worry.
Yeah.
Also, like he did look like a man who had a lot on his mind. I will say.
yeah.
that-
Well, he probably did, but he wasn't like it. It didn't look as though he was really concentrated on that act. He was concentrated on other things.
Other things, yeah.
yeah, he was distracted. That's why
Yeah.
Right.
couldn't even be present for pooping.
Well,
Yeah.
fun times. All right, Jace, what did you give us?
Right. So I was trying to look up like aids and things for how you would teach this to your Sunday schoolers. If you were a Sunday school teacher and this was your lesson
Well,
for the day.
This exactly. What Dedeker and I just.
Right. And you guys
Why was I
kinda,
about to call you Jessica? That was so weird.
it's like a combination of Dedeker and Jace somehow. Just Jessica.
What Jessica just showed us. So sorry. Okay, continue.
But so what I found is not like visual representations, but more how would you make this a lesson for the kids. And what came up a lot was kind of emphasizing the fact that it's David showing mercy, which I'm like, okay, I get that. It's weird though, because just earlier in this same book, Saul showed mercy to people, and that was what God hated him for. And
Yeah.
You're right.
so, like, I'm getting some mixed messages here. However, I mean, yes, I would rather we teach our kids mercy than just ruthless killing. So sure, I'll take it. I'm like, fine. But the Bible does have some weird mixed messages here. But what I did really like about it is that in the like questions to ask the kids after they've told the story, one is like, what did Saul go into the cave to do? As one of your like review questions. I'm like, really? You're just asking for trouble, asking a bunch of kids that question. And then for activities. Yeah.
That's what I expect the kids to do.
And then for activities, one of their suggested ones is to act out the story and build little caves and act out the story. And I was like, what?
Okay.
I mean, I could definitely see that engaging some kids.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it would.
I'm sure it would engage them,
It
but
would be pretty funny, actually.
I'd pay some money to see a bunch of little kid skits of this scene.
That would be pretty funny, actually. And then one of them suggested like setting up a trash bin and having them throw beanbags into it. And I was like, what does that have to do with anything?
What?
I don't know. There was no explanation of why that was related to the story. I was like, are these beanbags supposed to be the poop that you're throwing into this bucket? Like, what?
But there was no bucket in the story.
I know. It was weird.
Are they like reciting facts, and if they recite it correctly, they get to throw the beanbag? And what? That makes no sense to me.
No,
I think it's just a Sunday school teacher at the end of their rope at the end of the
like,
lesson.
you know what?
Oh my God, we've only used up 12 minutes of this 45-minute period where I need to watch these kids.
Jeez.
But then, okay, so then in looking for this, I was like, you know what? I wonder how VeggieTales depicted this. And short answer is they didn't. But they did depict the story of David and Goliath, also known as Dave and the Giant Pickle. And I just wanted to play you a couple clips because we never covered this when we did it, right? Because they're all veggies and fruits, I guess. Vegetables and fruits tales is what it should.
One of them's a jicama. I don't know what that is. A root.
Oh yeah.
Yes, jicama is a root vegetable,
but it still counts as a vegetable. So it's a vegetables and fruits tales.
It's really big.
Yeah.
Big and round.
So I just really like this. So he's Dave instead of David, which is something I actually really love that VeggieTales does, is that they kind of, diminutize everyone's names to make them cuter, which I like because we also do it on our show where we end up kind of making up little nicknames for people like Finny for Finneas.
Wait, has VeggieTales been on since the two of you were kids?
Yeah.
Well,
they came out, I was probably like 11, 12 maybe when VeggieTales first became a thing, maybe younger.
This
because I know
particular one came out in 1996.
Really? I had never, ever, ever heard of it until like a year or maybe 2 years ago when I was at my boyfriend's mother's wedding, and
they talked about
VeggieTales.
They did for the kids that were there. They did for the kids that were there, and I was like, "What's this?" And I was like, "Is that supposed to be from the Bible?" And they're like, "It's VeggieTales. Come on!" And I'm like, "No idea what this is," but I do know that they recently were satirizing it in Rick and Morty, so that was fun.
Oh, okay, all right, that's fun. So let me show you just these couple little clips here from this. So this is when David. So remember how David got sent to bring cheeses to his brothers?
Oh yeah, it was like 5 cheeses or 10 cheeses or something.
Yes,
some number of cheeses that we thought were little like baby bells. Little.
Yeah, the baby bells.
All right, so this is the scene where he shows up while Goliath is scaring everybody.
Who will fight me?
Well, who's gonna fight him? What are you, nuts? He'd have us for lunch.
That's David's brother.
Speaking of which, what'd you bring us? Here you go.
Is that David?
Yeah.
Wait, he's also a pickle?
Pizza.
He brought them pizzas.
Cheese in the crust. That's tremendous.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, Dave is an asparagus.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a little baby asparagus. I also just love his little voice. I think they did a cute job with the voicing of this character.
Totally.
But so then there's the whole scene where, he goes to talk to other people and no one wants to challenge Goliath. And he's like, I'll do it. And King Saul wants to put his armor on him. And it's like he's in a little bullet. It's weird. It's like his body's like the casing of it, and then his head is like a little bullet shape because it's like the top of an asparagus. Or he's like, or like a little walking trash can or something, and he falls over, and it's cute. But then here's what I thought was really weird. So then he goes out to face Goliath.
Who will fight me?
I will fight you, Goliath! You know, if I didn't know better, I'd say that sounded like Dave. Oh, yeah.
And then here comes
There he
Dave
is.
hopping out.
You know,
Hey, Dave.
if I didn't know better, I'd say that looks like Dave. Huh? Dave? Goliath was equally surprised.
Who said that?
So then check this out. There's going to be a real line.
Oh, am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?
Now, this is weird because this David is not carrying anything at all.
No.
So
yeah,
I
how
don't
would
know.
what's he gonna
What's
do?
his plan?
You would have thought that if they put in that line about that you come at me with sticks, that
That he would have something.
they would have
like
had
a stick.
something, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then Dave says this.
I don't exactly know what you mean, but you are not a dog. You are a really big guy that wants to beat me up. And I come at you not with sticks, but in the name of the God of Israel, who this day shall help me defeat you.
We will see who defeats who. Now we fight.
It's showtime.
And then they go into like a boxing match. And he ends
Seriously?
up flinging the sling and knocks him over, and all the Philistines run away. I was expecting him to kind of dice him up into pickles to put like on a burger or something like that, but they don't get quite that graphic in VeggieTales. So
Oh, man.
yet another sort of censoring for the children, I guess.
So he just knocks him down. He's like, boom.
Yeah, he falls over, and then
I
all the
did
Philistines run away. Yeah.
I hope that they used a kid to do that because it was really
They
cute.
didn't. It was the Japanese wife of the producer.
All right.
She did a great job.
Of course, you would
with
know that.
voice
Yeah, she
actor.
did a great job. That's
She did,
really
yes.
impressive.
Yes.
Wow.
wow.
Well, that was beautiful.
Thank you. And I was thinking too about the VeggieTales theme song, and that we need to write one like that for Drunk Bible Study sometime. You know, it'd be like drinking beers, same old jokes every week. PBS. Or, you know.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah. We'll have to work on that. If anyone has ideas for lyrics, let us know in the Drunk Bible Study Fans and Fellowship Facebook group. And we will see you all in the next Bible study.